Discover the incredible truth, how our son's shocking betrayal changed our lives forever. The evening air was filled with the warm, inviting aroma of freshly baked bread wafting like a warm hug through the quaint neighborhood of Millwood, Ohio. Inside the Johnson family bakery, Alex and Sarah Johnson reveled in the fruits of their labor. After years of struggle and sacrifice, their little shop had morphed into the cornerstone of the community, where locals gathered to share laughter, love, and life's milestones. Yet, on this seemingly idyllic Friday night, tranquility shattered like fragile glass when their 16-year-old son, Jake, stormed through the door, his bravado lurking beneath a heavy weight of darkness. "Mom, Dad, I've joined a gang." His blaring voice echoed through the bakery, silencing the laughter of customers, leaving a tense silence in its wake. Alex and Sarah's hearts plummeted. The sweet boy who once hummed along with the radio while rolling dough had been consumed by the dark allure of quick cash and belonging. It felt as if someone had ripped the heart out of their family. Shockwaves rippled through the tight-knit community like thunder. Neighbors who had shared countless bread loaves and eager smiles now whispered behind closed doors, their eyes filled with pity. How could they have failed Jake? That piercing question hung in the air, suffocating as much as it educated, leaving Alex and Sarah grappling with a whirlwind of emotions that twisted their insides. In the days that followed, the house that once echoed with joyous conversation stood shrouded in silence. Alex felt the weight of his son's decisions crushing him, every gentle turn of the bakery's sign feeling like a blow. Meanwhile, Sarah found herself reliving memories of Jake's first steps, of flour fights in the kitchen, wishing it all could come back to that simpler time. Their unity was being tested, and each day was filled with a tightness in their chests, tears stinging their eyes at any mention of their son's new reality. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Their desperation led Alex and Sarah to make a tough choice to send Jake to live with relatives out of state. Maybe distance would illuminate his path back home. But the gang wasn't going to let him go so easily. As Jake faced menacing figures demanding loyalty, the morals of family and the darkness of the street swirled in conflict. Was Jake truly searching for familial love, or had he turned his back on them to chase an illusion of loyalty? Days turned into tense standoffs with Jake caught at the crossroad of choices. When his resolve began to falter, a fateful encounter loomed, clouds darkening over choices made. Would he cling to the vibrant memories of his family bakery or surrender to the intoxicating thrill of gang life? The stakes had never been higher, and his parents were left standing at the edge of despair, hoping desperately that love had the power to rewrite Jake's story. The community rallied, reinforcing the bonds of their collective spirit, and as it did, the question lingered: would Jake embrace his roots, or would temptation ensnare him forever? The call came right after dinner, shattering the fragile peace that settled in the Johnson household. Alex picked up the phone, his heart already racing, sensing instinctively that it would not be good news. The voice on the other end trembled. "Mr. Johnson? This is Officer Martinez from the Millwood Police Department. I need to speak with you about your son, Jake." As Alex pressed the phone to his ear, he felt Sarah's anxious eyes on him, searching for reassurance he didn't have. "What happened?" he asked, his voice a trembling whisper, the world closing in around him. There was a pause that felt like eternity. "Jake was involved in an incident downtown. It's serious. You should come to the station." At that moment, hope and dread clashed in his chest. He motioned for Sarah to join him. They hurried to the station, the distance stretching like a chasm. Each second that ticked by intensified the echo of Jake's betrayal, the very reason they had made the difficult decision to send him away. When they arrived, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, illuminating somber faces in the waiting area, each one etched with stories of trouble and loss. And in the midst of it all, they found Jake, sitting at a table, his head hung low, shadowed by the weight of his choices. "Jake," Sarah breathed, rushing over. She reached for him, but he flinched, retreating into himself. "What happened?" "No. Don't," he said. The desperation in his voice was laced with something else, not just disobedience but fear, the kind that stemmed from a world they had never wanted him to know. Officer Martinez approached them, his expression serious. Jake was caught up in a gang-related confrontation. Fortunately, no one was seriously hurt, but he will need to answer for his actions. The words flowed over Alex and Sarah like a cold wave, each one chilling their hearts further. Their minds raced back to the boy who once thrilled at the sight of a cake rising in the oven, to the laughter and love that had built this family brick by brick. What had replaced it? "Please," Sarah pleaded, her voice breaking. "Tell us how to help him. You have to be there for him." "That's the first step," Martinez replied softly but firmly. Jake lifted his head, tears glistening in his eyes. "I didn't mean to get involved. They said they'd protect me when my friends left." The word struck like a blow. He was still their boy, aching and ashamed, standing on the edge of a dark path. Alex felt a fire ignite in his gut. "Jake, we will not abandon you. This isn't who you are. You're not alone in this." But the boy looked away, as if the distance shot through him like arrows, leaving wounds unseen. The walls of their family seemed to close in, the bakery's warmth now feeling miles away. As they talked to the officer about the next steps, uncertainty gnawed at them. They were hitting the pavement hard with questions about rehabilitation, connections, and community programs, all swirling in a fray. But the deeper question remained: could they pull Jake back from the brink before it consumed him entirely? Later that night at home, the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across what had once felt so vibrantly alive. Uneasy silence enveloped the house, a stark contrast to the warmth the bakery usually radiated. They sat on the couch, lost in thought, Sarah holding Alex's hand tightly. "What if he can't choose us?" she whispered, her voice breaking. Alex turned to her, pain flooding his heart. "We have to believe he will, and he needs to know we're here no matter what." But even as he spoke those words, doubt slithered through his thoughts. Could love be enough to save Jake from the grips of temptation? The road ahead loomed dark and uncertain, and they couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a long and hard battle. As the night deepened around them, one question kept surfacing. Would their love be strong enough to pull him back? Or would they stand helpless as the shadows of gang life swallowed their sweet boy whole? The following morning brought sunlight that felt strangely out of place. Alex and Sarah moved through their routine like actors in a play, their hearts heavy as they prepared for yet another day of uncertainty. The bakery, once graced with laughter and the warm scent of cinnamon and vanilla, felt like a weight on their shoulders. Alex flipped on the coffee maker, its mechanical gurgle breaking the thick silence. He glanced at the table where Jake's unfinished homework sat, a stark reminder of the boy who still occupied their minds, even when he wasn't there. "Should we maybe clear some of this out?" Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "It feels too much." "Yes," he replied, though he knew clearing it would not lighten the burden they bore. They wanted to be prepared, to be ready when Jake returned home. They focused on anything except the hard conversations ahead. Then, just as the sun began to rise higher, a sudden knock at the door startled them. Sarah exchanged a glance with Alex. It was too early for visitors, was it, Jake? Fear gnawed at their hearts. As Alex opened the door, he found a familiar face standing there, Officer Martinez, his expression serious. "Sorry to drop by unannounced," he said. "I wanted to check in on you and talk more about Jake." "Please come in." Alex stepped aside, heart racing, anxiety swelling in his chest. They settled at the kitchen table where the stark absence of Jake formed an invisible barrier among them. "Where do we begin?" Sarah asked, voice trembling but determined. Officer Martinez exhaled, his gaze firm. "I'd like to stress that Jake is not alone in this. He is going to need support, a lot of it. What about those who dragged him into this?" Alex cut in, frustration bubbling to the surface. "What can you do about those guys who prey on kids like mine?" Martinez nodded, understanding the father's anger but remained calm. "It's complicated. There's a system in place, and I can assure you that we're watching those who are involved. But for Jake, the immediate concern is how he faces this moving forward. And how do we do that? What if he doesn't want to talk?" Sarah leaned forward, fear creeping into her voice. "Sometimes kids need to see a professional. A counselor might help. They can give him a safe place to express himself, work through all this," Martinez suggested. Alex looked at Sarah, his heart swelling with hope. Was this the step they needed? Does he have to go back to that school? Can we switch him to somewhere safer? Somewhere where he can feel free? "Yes," the officer replied. "Rehab programs also work with schools to ensure a smooth transition. But there's no quick fix. It will take time, trust, and most importantly your support." They absorbed this information. The ache of uncertainty still lingered, but the faintest glimmer of hope sparked within them. If they could hold on to that, maybe they could pull Jake back. "Jake still thinks he is alone," Alex said softly, but resolved. "We need to make sure he knows we're here. We've got to show him he can rely on us. No matter what." "Yes," Sarah murmured, squeezing Alex's hand tightly. "We need him to feel this love. It has to overpower the darkness surrounding him." As they devised a plan, an unexpected thought surfaced. Could they convince Jake that he was worthy of their love, despite his mistakes? Could they help him see that life could be beautiful again? As Officer Martinez left, the air in the kitchen felt lighter, but the battle was far from over. One thought trapped them as they shared uneasy glances. What if their son pulled away further before they could bring him back? The day dragged on, filled with hushed conversations and nervous glances toward the door. They spent the evening getting things ready for Jake's return. But with each passing moment, they couldn't help but wonder, would he accept their help, or had the shadows of gang life already claimed him for good? The night arrived, cloaked in uncertainty. The house held its breath as Alex and Sarah went through the motions of preparing for Jake's return. Each click of the clock sent a tremor of anxiety through them. They laid out a bed, set fresh sheets with a reassurance that felt false, and placed Jake's favorite snacks in the pantry like offerings to a restless spirit. "Maybe we should make a banner?" Sarah suggested, searching for anything that could break the tension. "You know, something welcoming?" Alex nodded but felt the lump in his throat. "Yeah, maybe. Something that shows him we care." They scrambled for paper and markers, collage-like memories spilling onto the table. Each colorful stroke was laced with hope and fear. When a simple welcome home started to take shape, Sarah stepped back, her eyes glistening. "Look at this. What if he doesn't feel welcomed?" "Don't think that way," Alex replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "We have to believe he wants to come back to us. We need to show him our door is always open." Time moved slowly. They glanced at the door, expecting it to swing open, but it remained shut. Shadows danced around the kitchen, as doubts crept in. What if this was all for nothing? Around midnight, a knock reverberated through the stillness. Sarah gasped, eyes wide, as they locked gazes. Could it be him? They rushed to the door, their hearts pounding in sync. Alex opened it cautiously. The streetlights cast long shadows, and there was a silhouette. A flash of hope struck him as he scanned the face. It was Jake. But as Alex took in the sight of his son, his heart sank. Jake stood there, eyes downcast, hands shoved deep into his pockets like he was trying to hide from the world. "Hey, buddy," Alex said softly, heart racing. "You're home." Jake's gaze drifted to the floor, shadows playing across his features. I don't know if I belong here anymore." The words hung thick in the air, cutting deeper than they realized. "What do you mean?" Sarah stepped closer, her voice trembling. "You are always welcome. We want you here. We love you, Jake." At those words, Jake flinched, and for a heartbeat, Alex thought he saw something break open in his son's eyes. But it was gone just as fast, replaced by guardedness. "Love doesn't really matter now," he muttered, shifting his weight and staring at the ground like it could swallow him whole. "What happened?" Alex stepped into the doorway, blocking the night. "You can talk to us. You don't have to carry this alone." "Things are different," Jake finally said, voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want you guys to see the person I've become." Alex's heart shattered just a little more. "That's not true. You're still our Jake. We've been worried sick." "You can stop worrying," Jake replied with a bitter smile that crushed Sarah's resolve. "I don't need saving." The cold in his tone curled through the hallway, a pain that echoed in both Alex and Sarah's chests. Jake turned as if to leave, but Alex instinctively reached out, grabbing his shoulder gently. "No. Just please, come inside." Jake hesitated, tension thrumming between father and son. "I can't just walk back into normal. What if normal is just us being together as a family?" Sarah pleaded, her heart racing in tandem with the urgent desperation in her voice. "We wanted you to come home," Jake sighed, frustration and fear mixing in his furrowed brow. That's when a tear slipped down Sarah's cheek. She didn't hide it. "You can talk to us about anything." Jake's defenses cracked slightly, but the battle behind his eyes was palpable. "What if I don't want to tell you everything?" he asked, uncertainty bubbling beneath his bravado. "Then, we start with what you can tell us," Alex said, taking a breath. "But please don't shut us out anymore." For the first time, Jake looked directly at them, and they could see the struggle and urge to let them in, but a fear that kept him back. "Can't we just go back to before?" Jake finally whispered. Alex glanced at Sarah, their hearts heavy. "We can try, but it takes all of us." The kitchen held its breath, hope flickering between them, but Jake remained unsure, inching back toward the darkness he might not be ready to leave behind. What if this was just the beginning of something far more complicated? As a gust of wind rattled the window, a shadow loomed larger around them. The night still held secrets, and the hardest truth was yet to come. Would they be able to bridge the chasm of silence growing between them before it was too late? The silence stretched like a taut string, vibrating with unspoken words. Jake stood at the door, a flimsy barrier between him and the warmth of home, but he seemed ready to retreat into the night again. Alex felt desperation clawing at his chest, an urge to reach deeper, to break through whatever had wrapped around his son. "Jake, please," Alex urged, his voice cracking slightly. "You don't have to walk through this alone. Whatever you're feeling, we can face it together." Jake shifted, and Alex saw a flicker of conflict in his son's eyes. It's complicated, Dad. More than you know." Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding. "We're your family. We want to understand. Just tell us what is going on. Trust us." Jake shook his head, biting his lip. "You don't get it. I can't just spill it all out like that. I don't even know how to start." That seemed to breach some wall within him, and for a moment, Alex thought his son might spill everything. But then Jake turned away, his shoulders hunched, and Alex felt the weight of the world in that small movement. Sarah wiped at her tears, the pain tearing at her heart. "What if we showed you?" she asked softly, her voice thick with emotion. "We can share things, something about us too. It doesn't have to be all one-sided." Jake glanced back, curiosity pulling him in despite his resistance. "Like what?" Alex exchanged a look with Sarah. Remember that time we got stuck in the car during that storm? The power went out, and we sang songs until dawn. He smiled, a bittersweet memory lighting up the heavy air. That was scary, but we made it. Together. Jake's expression softened, just a fraction. Yeah, I remember. I thought we were going to drown. See? Sarah added, her voice steadying. We all have our storms. Maybe it's time to weather this one together. If you could share one small thing, it might help, like how we felt during that storm. The room buzzed with anticipation, and for the first time, Jake moved closer, drawn by the warmth that embraced him, even now. Okay, I guess I've felt lost for a while, he murmured, the words slipping out like a pebble in a river. Like. I'm not the same person. I don't know how you would look at me if you really knew. Both Alex and Sarah leaned in, their hearts thudding with hope and fear. You're still our son, no matter what, Alex assured him, grounding his voice with determination. We'll always love you. Jake faltered, the tension in his body slackening momentarily. But what if I've messed up stuff? Things I can't fix? He looked away, shame flickering in his eyes. Everything can be fixed, Sarah said firmly. Not alone, though. We're here for you. But the minute that vulnerability surfaced, the shadows came creeping back. I don't know, Jake whispered, voice straining under the pressure of unspoken burdens. Alex felt a shiver of panic at the thought of losing this moment. Jake, when we hit rough patches, we don't give up on each other. We talk. We confront it. Isn't that what family does? Jake's face twisted, a tempest of emotions. I'm scared, Dad. Scared that you won't understand, or worse, that you'll hate me. No, 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 Sarah breathed, shaking her head frantically. We could never hate you. But we can't help if you keep hiding. The air grew still, thickening around them, like a storm holding its breath. The bond was fragile, yet tangible, and they felt it pull them closer together as Jake squeezed his eyes shut. I can't talk about some things. They're heavy. He took a deep breath, as if trying to gather strength from the air around him. But you don't have to do it all at once, Alex encouraged, feeling a surge of fierce love. Start small. Just take one step. Jake hesitated, lost in thought. For the first time tonight, Alex saw his son's expression shift, vulnerability fighting against the weight of his fears. But a heartbeat later, doubt clouded Jake's face again. Okay. Maybe I'll try, he muttered, but sincerity struggled to break through the thick fog of uncertainty wrapping around him. But the night was far from over. A cold wind swept through the house. And as flickering shadows danced wildly, Alex's gut twisted with fear. What would happen if Jake turned away again? What if getting him to opened up a truth they had dreaded hearing? A question hung in the air, and in the silence, Jake took a single step backward, hesitant and unsure. Would they have the courage to face whatever was lurking in the darkness, both outside and within? Jake's breath hitched as he stood there, the dim light catching the edges of his conflicted face. Every fraction of a second felt like an hour. The world around him blurred, leaving only his parents' desperate, caring expressions. His heart raced, heavy in his chest, and he instinctively took another step back, as if the weight of unseen truth pressed against him, forcing him away instead of pulling him closer. Jake, listen, Alex said, his voice a steady anchor amidst the chaos. Just tell us one thing. What's the heaviest part you've been carrying? I promise we can handle it. The room fell silent again, but this silence was different. It wasn't just the weight of unspoken words, it was suspense, a fragile thread teetering on the edge of breaking. Jake's eyes darted around, searching for answers that weren't there. I don't know how to say it, he finally admitted, his voice low and strained. It's something I don't think I'll ever be able to fix. But we can at least try, right? Sarah said, her voice shaking but determined. "What's the worst thing that can happen? You'll feel lighter. We want to help you carry it, not judge you." Jake shifted his weight, wrestling with the storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. He wanted to believe her. He wanted to feel that relief. "It's just. I messed up with friends. I made choices that I regret." "How bad could it be?" Alex asked gently. "Everyone makes mistakes. We've all stumbled. You're human. You're allowed to make mistakes." Jake's eyes filled with uncertainty. What if I lost friendships that were important? Things happened, and now I feel like I don't belong anywhere. He took a deep breath. "And I don't even fit in with people anymore, and that scares me." The honesty of his confession turned the air electric, crackling with emotions. Sarah took a shaky breath, her heart breaking for him. "Everyone goes through tough stuff with friends. It doesn't mean you're lost forever. You're never alone. You have us." "But when I tried to reach out," Jake continued, his voice barely above a whisper, "they just turned away. I felt invisible. They talked behind my back. I thought if I explored different paths, I could fit in, but it backfired. Now I feel like I lost myself." Alex stepped closer, grounding Jake with his presence. "It's okay to feel lost. It's okay to wander for a bit. Sometimes, that's how we find who we really are. We learn from those mistakes and choose better next time." Jake clenched his fists, frustration boiling beneath the surface. "I can't face them again. I'm embarrassed. What do I do if they hate me for trying to change?" Alex shook his head, a weary smile breaking through. "We don't hate you. We love you, and so do the friends who matter. If they don't see who you've grown to be, maybe they aren't worth it. Trust the ones who stand by you." Tears burned at the corners of Jake's eyes as the confrontation of his truth stripped layers off his soul. "But how can I rebuild it? All the bridges I burned?" "You start by being honest with yourself," Sarah said, stepping forward. "You show the real you in every situation from now on. It's hard work, but you can do this. Because we'll be here, you'll never be alone in this." Jake looked down, trying to hide the flicker of hope that grew at the edges of his heart. It was a flicker illuminated by his parents' unwavering support. "You really think I can do it?" he murmured, a hint of vulnerability returning. "I know you can," Alex replied, his voice filled with conviction. "This is just the beginning, just one step. We'll take it together. And when things get tough, just remember that we're right here." Jake swallowed hard, still unsure, but for the first time, he felt like he was standing on the precipice of something new. The shadows that once loomed over him started to fade. He took a small, careful step forward. Okay, I'll try, but what if I fail again?" "Then we'll get back up together," Sarah assured him, and the warmth of their bond felt stronger. Jake began to nod, the last slivers of tension gradually melting away. He was still afraid, but with each beat of his heart, the shadows retreated further into the background. Yet the night held one more psychological puzzle, one sinuous thread still lurking in the corners of his mind that needed untangling. Would he truly gather the courage to face the ultimate betrayal that had haunted him for so long? Would they still love him after that? The question loomed heavy in the air, the weight of it unshakable, setting the stage for the next confrontation that could change everything. Jake took a deep breath, trying to steady his racing heart. He glanced up at his parents, their expressions a mixture of support and concern. The little flicker of hope he felt moments ago began to flicker more brightly, battling against the fears that still clung to his mind. "What if I told you the real reason behind my mess?" he ventured, the words catching like smoke in his throat. "Then we'd be proud of you for speaking up," Alex replied, a calm reassurance lacing his voice. Jake felt the weight of the world pressing down on him. He locked eyes with Sarah, feeling a creeping vulnerability rise in him. What if I told you it was someone I trusted? A friend who betrayed me? The confession slipped out, raw and unguarded. Both his parents shifted, the intensity of the moment growing. Tell us everything, Jake, Sarah urged, leaning forward, her eyes wide with concern. It was Danny. He was like a brother to me at one point. We did everything together. But when I needed him the most, he turned everyone against me. As Jake spoke, he could hear the tremor in his voice, the fractures of betrayal cutting deeper than he had realized. I thought I could trust him with everything, Jake continued, letting the words flow like a river breaking free of its dam. But he fed everyone lies about me. Said I was the reason for our group's problems. I thought if I joined different circles, I could escape him, but instead, I lost myself completely. Oh, Jake. Sarah whispered, a flood of sympathy washing over her. Tears sparkled in her eyes as she reached out, her hand brushing his arm. The worst part? Jake looked down at the floor, ashamed. I actually believed what he said. I thought maybe I was the problem. That I was the reason I was losing friends, he admitted, his voice cracking. Alex stepped closer, pulling Jake into a firm embrace. You are not the problem, son. That's the lie he spun, and you were brave enough to unveil it. Who you are is not defined by the opinions of others. You are loved and worthy. Jake felt a warm rush of feeling flooding over him. In that embrace, he began to feel the healing power of acceptance seep into his bones. But as he nestled deeper into his father's arms, a nagging thought stayed at the back of his mind. What if I go back to the same group and they just never forgive me? What if Danny tells more lies? Those are what ifs, Sarah interjected gently, and we can't let them control your actions. You need to show the real you, Jake. The authentic, brave person you are becoming. If they reject you, then they don't deserve you. Jake closed his eyes, envisioning the faces of the friends he used to know. A part of him feared rejection, yet a part of him craved the chance to reclaim what was lost. What if I mess up again? He whispered, the weight of his past still a fresh wound. Then you learn, Alex replied. That's life. You embrace the mistakes, and you grow. Jake opened his eyes, hope wrestling against doubt within him. Would he truly have the strength to confront them? There was so much riding on his next move, it felt incredibly weighty. But surrounded by his parents, he grasped the essence of resilience. Okay, I think I'm ready to try, he murmured, barely above a whisper. It thrilled him and terrified him all at once. Then, just as he thought clarity settled over him, his phone buzzed on the table. The screen lit up, displaying a message from his former friends. Jake's heart raced again as he looked at the text, unprepared for the fresh wave of emotions washing over him. For a moment, he felt frozen in time, the world narrowing down to that single sliver of interaction that held the potential to rewrite everything. What if this was a chance? Or a setup for more hurt? Jake hesitated, fingers trembling over the phone. Was he ready for this? Could he truly face the music? The phone buzzed again, demanding his attention, the only thing cutting through the feeble light of hope he held. Could he make a choice that might change everything once again? Jake stared at the glowing screen, his heartbeat drumming loudly in his ears. The text message blinked at him, a simple question that held so much weight. Can we talk? It felt both like an invitation and a threat. His mind raced as memories flooded back. Laughter shared on sunny afternoons, secrets whispered under the stars, and promises made to always have each other's backs. Yet now, the thought of facing any of them twisted a knot tight in his stomach. Could he trust them again? Are you going to read it? Sarah's soft voice broke through the silence. She was still beside him, her hand resting gently on his shoulder, anchoring him in the moment. Yeah, Jake struggled to find the right words, glancing at Alex, who nodded encouragingly. With a deep breath, Jake opened the message, his fingers shaking slightly. Hey, we were wrong about everything. Can we meet? We want to apologize." A surge of conflicting emotions swelled within him, relief mingled with fear. They were admitting fault? Was this some sort of trick? Jake could feel the sides of his mouth trembling as he contemplated how much time had passed since everything fell apart. "What do you think?" he asked, glancing at his parents for guidance. "Trust your gut, Jake," Alex encouraged. "You're the one who knows those friends best. Just remember, you're not that same person anymore. You have the power here." Feeling a flicker of courage, Jake swallowed hard. This was his chance, but it came with risks. What if they aren't sincere? What if Danny gets involved? He murmured, letting his fears spill out as he glanced at Sarah. "We'll face whatever comes together," Sarah responded, her eyes warm and strong. "You have us, no matter what." The thought of going in with his parents by his side filled him with a sense of safety. Perhaps they could help him navigate this storm. Taking a deep breath, Jake typed a response. "I'm willing to talk, but I need honesty. No more games." He hit send and almost instantly felt a mix of exhilaration and dread. The waiting felt unbearable. What would happen now? Would they keep their word? Minutes passed like hours when his phone buzzed again. "We'll meet at the park, 3 p.m. tomorrow. Hopefully, we can clear the air." Jake's heart raced with anticipation. The park, where they used to hang out, laugh, and be carefree. The memories washed over him, bittersweet. "Are you ready for this?" his dad asked, breaking through his whirlwind of thoughts. "I think so," Jake replied, though a seed of doubt still lingered. "I just don't know what to expect." "This is your journey," Sarah encouraged softly. "You set the terms. You deserve to speak your truth." Jake nodded, feeling a strange mixture of hope and fear. He wanted to believe they could resolve things, but in the back of his mind, he wondered if Danny had set this all up to push him down even further. As the night drew closer, he felt every emotion pulling him in different directions. But there was one thing he was certain of: this was the first step towards reclaiming his life. "Tomorrow will tell me everything," Jake whispered, feeling the weight settle onto his shoulders again. Would he finally find the closure he needed, or was he walking right into the lion's den? With that question lingering heavy in the air, sleep eluded him, his mind swirling with endless possibilities. Tomorrow held more than a simple meeting. It could hold the truth he desperately sought, or the continuation of his struggle. And deep down, he knew he had to fight for what was right. He was ready to find out if redemption was possible. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the park. Jake could feel the weight of the day pressing down on him. He arrived early, nerves buzzing in his stomach like a swarm of bees. The air felt thick with anticipation, the same energy that once filled those green fields during carefree summer days. He saw the familiar swings, the slide that used to be his favorite, and the picnic table where laughter used to echo. Those memories flooded back, almost too overwhelming to bear. He swallowed hard. This was not going to be a cheerful reunion. It felt more like walking a tightrope over a pit of uncertainty. His parents walked with him, a silent support. Sarah had promised to stay close no matter what, but he could tell she was feeling the tension too. Her hand brushed his as they approached the meeting point, and a small sense of calm washed over him. As he rounded the bend in the path, he spotted them, his old friends. It felt surreal seeing them here, their faces etched with a mix of nervousness and determination. Matt stood with his arms crossed, a defensive posture that only made Jake's heart race faster. Jess fidgeted with her hair, avoiding eye contact. And there was Danny, leaning against a tree, a smirk on his face that set Jake's teeth on edge. "Hey," Jake said, his voice steady despite the fluttering anxiety in his chest. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, feeling the ground beneath him as solid as a rock. "Thanks for coming," Matt said, his tone laced with sincerity. "We really wanted a chance to explain." Jake felt his pulse quicken. The explanation he sought wasn't just about words, it was about meaning, about redemption. He glanced at his parents, who gave him a nod, reminding him he was not alone. "Okay," he replied, trying to steer the conversation but unsure of where to guide it. Jess finally met his gaze. "We messed up, Jake," she said softly, her voice trembling slightly. "We hurt you, and we know that now. We were blind to everything going on. It was wrong, and we're sorry." Jake could feel his chest tighten. Was this genuine? Could he really believe them? The weight of old wounds pressed heavily on his heart. "How do I know you really mean it?" he asked, the sharpness of his own words surprising even him. Danny shrugged, his smirk faltering. "You don't. But we're willing to try together. Can you at least give us a chance?" Silence fell, thick and awkward. Jake's instincts kicked into overdrive, battling between indignation and hope. He had never felt so lost before. One fight had shattered their friendship, but could their honesty mend it? As seconds ticked by, he thought about everything he had endured: the isolation, the anger, the heartache. But he also thought of the good times shared and the potential for healing. He looked back at his parents, who offered silent encouragement, and Sarah, standing tall as ever. "Okay," Jake started, his voice steadier than he expected. "But this isn't just about words. You have to show me you want to change." The tension in the air shifted, and for the first time, he saw understanding in their eyes. "Whatever it takes," Matt agreed, his tone earnest. The hope in Jake's heart began to swell. Perhaps this was a doorway to something better, but before he could truly settle into that thought, the unsettling sound of footsteps approached from behind them. Jake turned, heart sinking as he spotted Danny's shadowy figure moving toward them. "Still think you can just brush everything under the rug?" Danny's voice dripped with contempt. Jake's gut twisted. This wasn't over yet. The trouble was far from finished, and as fear gripped him again, he realized he might have to fight not only for himself but for the friendships he thought were lost forever. Was this the new challenge he needed to face? Or was it a cruel reminder of the scars he wanted to leave behind? The park that once felt filled with promise now loomed ominously, every glance promising conflict rather than closure. What would happen next? As the heavy atmosphere surrounding them pulsed with tension, Danny's presence shifted the dynamic completely. Jake's heart dropped. He could almost hear it thudding in his ears, drowning out everything else. "Seriously, you think you can just waltz back? After everything?" Danny sneered, crossing his arms defiantly. "Danny, I thought we were here to talk," Matt interjected, frustration edging his voice. "This isn't the time." "Oh, but it is," Danny shot back, a twisted grin plastered across his face. "You're all make-believe friends now, pretending nothing ever happened. But it's not that simple." Jake felt the anger rising within him, bubbling just beneath the surface. "I'm not pretending anything," he snapped, stepping forward. "I'm trying to move on, and you're just dragging me back." "Move on? Where? You're nothing without us." Danny's words stung, each syllable a jab that left Jake reeling. "You think you can just leave your past? You think they will accept that?" Jake felt the heat on his cheeks, the familiar feeling of insecurity washed over him. Suddenly, he couldn't recall why he was hesitant about confronting his past in the first place. Perhaps he could reclaim everything he lost, but first, he had to stand his ground. "I'm here to become better," Jake said, his voice steady but echoed with vulnerability. "Not just for you but for me. My past doesn't define my future. You do not control me anymore." With each word, he felt his earlier fears melt away, replaced by a fierce sense of determination. Looking at his old friends' faces, he found something unexpected: an urge to let down their walls as well. "Danny, you can't keep holding on to this power over us. I want to believe that we can move forward. Can't you at least try to understand?" Danny hesitated, the smirk faltering for the first time. The vulnerability flickering in Jake's eyes seemed to soak into the air between them. For a brief moment, something shifted, and a silence fell that felt as heavy as the past they all shared. Then Jake turned to his parents, who stood steadfast behind him. Their unwavering support filled him with strength. "Mom, Dad, I know this is going to take time, but I want to try and fix things with my friends if they let me." "Let us give it a chance," Sarah said, her voice filled with warmth. "You don't have to face this alone, Jake. Not now, not ever." "Yeah, we're all in this together," Alex added, giving Jake a slight nod of pride. The corners of Danny's mouth twitched as if he were processing something entirely foreign. "You really think you can change?" he mumbled, trying to dismiss the truth hanging in the air. "We can manage," Jess jumped in with unexpected conviction. "We owe it to ourselves to try. We've all been broken in some way." The sincerity of her words caught everyone off guard. Danny shifted uncomfortably, his bravado slowly breaking down as he looked around at the group. "Look," Jake began cautiously. "I don't want to pretend like everything is okay when it's not. But I'm ready to talk through it. To face it. Together." "Together," echoed Matt, the genuine resolve in his voice shining through the heaviness of their standoff. With a deep breath, Jake faced Danny. "What do you say? Can we really start over? Or do we let everything we once had go to waste? He gestured toward everyone, may have stuck together through bad times, but we are not defined by that. We aren't contained by the hurt." Danny's guarded expression cracked just slightly, revealing the remnants of a friendship that once bred acceptance and loyalty. Jake felt the ground beneath him shift as hope sparked in the air. "I'd like to believe that we can move forward. It's what I want." In that moment, the change in Danny was tangible. "Fine," he said quietly, sliding his gaze past Jake. Maybe I can try too. But it won't be easy. I have a lot to sort out." "Whatever it takes," Jake reassured him. "But we can't hide from the truth anymore." The air seemed to swirl with new possibilities, an electric undercurrent that lifted their spirits. The shadows that once loomed large above seemed to wane, receding into the horizon like remnants of a fading storm. As the sun began to fully break through the clouds, illuminating the park and their shared history, each person stood at the cusp of transformation, a collective realization sparking in the depths of their hearts. They were no longer victims of their circumstances, they had the power to reshape their destinies. "Let us do this," Sarah spoke up. "Let us build something new together, one step at a time." Jake looked around at his parents, old friends, and the journey that lay ahead. It was daunting but exhilarating. It was in their hands. "Together," Jake murmured, steeling himself for the challenges ahead, yet feeling lighter, sending a hopeful smile into the vast expanse of a promising tomorrow. And with this fresh start, they began their journey, intertwined by love and courage, ready to face whatever came next. Remember, transformation takes time, but it's always worth it when we stand together. And now, if you feel the emotions rock you in the same way, support this journey. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next incredible stories unfolding. Leave a like now to keep this inspiring spirit alive and to feed the algorithm. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about Jake's journey. And most importantly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how transformation looks like. Don't wait not even one more second to share this message. Let us build a community filled with hope.